When I get that feeling,
I want sexual healing.
Sexual healing.
Ooh, baby.
Sexual healing.
Makes me feel so fine.
So good for me.
So today's episode is kind of heavy, yo.
Yeah, but it's real, and we really dig into this book. We apologize in advance to all of our friends that we put on Front Street during this episode.
Shout out, Vic.
You help us be better, and that's facts. That's real. So
Let's get into it.
let's dig into it.
Girl, do you really?
You answered it perfectly.
Yeah, but I mean, like, when you're fucking a black hole person. Sometimes we do it intentionally because we know we don't have to connect.
From De Facto Books, I'm Jay Nicole,
And I'm V Diggity Dog.
and this is Two Peas in a Pod. My first thing on chapter 2 is exactly what I was saying, kind of like what I just went through with my relationship is we carry a purpose. So we need to step back and look at relationships as a sense of spirit and not like as an ownership of somebody. You know what I mean? Like, what is our purpose with this person? And don't hold any attachments in that sense.
Yeah, and I also like the idea that she says spirit helps us fulfill our own life purpose, but this part, maintain our sanity.
Yes.
And I had forgot to highlight that at first because, like, I think that we always talk about in relationships how crazy we're driven all the time by our relationships.
Yes.
And it's like that's because spirit is not centering us.
Yeah.
And like literally that your person is supposed to be that grounding, right?
Yeah.
And we say that in theory,
Yeah.
but we don't live that.
But I think we're supposed to be our grounding, like not that person.
No, but I'm saying that person shouldn't contribute to our crazy.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And I think probably that has something to do with
this is
ritual.
us, but it has something to do with us. Like we're the ones creating the crazy. You got to let go of that's because. So I've been reading this thing about ROCD, relationship OCD,
Okay.
and I realized that I did have it. I would have all these like over compulsing thoughts, like why I should not be here with the person, like why I could do better, why this person is not for me. And I would like lay awake like a crackhead thinking about these things.
Were you scratching your neck like that too?
Yeah, no. But so what it comes down to is trusting my intuition and trusting my spirit. Like if my spirit doesn't feel comfortable with that person, then yeah, I should probably figure out what that means and leave.
Yeah.
If my spirit feels comfortable, but I can feel my anxiety just trying to find reasons, then
Like
that's
you were doing with this last person?
well, yeah.
In the beginning, you did.
Yeah, I was trying to, and it's like just serve your purpose, like, and don't have anxiety. But if your spirit was starting, my spirit did, like, I felt like a pit, like I wanted to vomit one night, and I was like, like this means this is my expiration date. Like I did what I was supposed to do, and I'm done. I enjoyed it, and I don't think that this was.
And it's not bad,
timeless.
and it doesn't even have to be equated with the labels like breakup or like something's wrong with you because you didn't choose to like stay in that space.
Right.
I think that we have no cultural context for this idea that you're talking about, though. It's almost like because as women who grow up dating boys in that context. And I don't even think it's this isn't even a heterosexual dominant situation. It can't be. I think it's just as young people growing up and learning about love and relationships, we think we're supposed to like be offering ourselves to them in some sexual way. Like this is going to be our partner instead of like, what does spirit have you in this space for?
Right.
It might be to get busy.
Right.
But most likely that's not the ultimate reason.
Yeah.
You're just distracted by what we've been fed and what we see on TV every day.
Exactly. Because like take my relationship with Vic, for example. We've never had sex, but it's a very intimate relationship. Right. I'll tell Vic stuff that I won't tell anyone else.
Well, see, then you understand intimacy that's not about booty clapping.
Yeah, so it's like, but then I have no tie to Vic. I'm not like, you have to be my best friend and no one else's best friend.
No, but y'all do that in a space of choice.
Yeah, so it's like, but I feel like everything should be like that. Like, because I feel like maybe if Jeff was who he was and didn't probably put sex with an intimate, sacred space,
Mhm.
then I wouldn't have had to have sex with him to do
Get
what I
close. Yeah.
to do what I had to do in his life. But
You're like a sexual healer.
and I really do think I am.
Bro, it's
I
like
really
that.
do think
You are the embodiment of the Marvin Gaye song. Sexual healing was written about you.
It was me. It was I.
That's a real thing, though, that I
I
think
really-
in a Western culture we don't
Look at.
talk about. But
Yeah.
that's a real thing because of all the things we've just been talking about, we know that that's where we've been allowed ourselves to be the most intimate and vulnerable is in those sexual spaces and that thing we call pillow talk, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
And when you get a person in that place, they're closest to spirit. So that's how that
Yeah.
manifests.
Mhm.
But in essence, if you can look at yourself like that as that being in that moment,
Yeah.
then it can help you disconnect from some of that stuff that you know comes from culture and then isn't real work. It makes you feel like now you have to be this person for this other person.
Right.
And then that part I think I'm jumping ahead, but in chapter 10, where I think I already read it, where she said, romance means hiding our true self in order to gain acceptance. It begins with doing every little thing for our partner, neglecting our true feelings until we reach a point of serious depletion.
Mm.
It's like, how much can you give? And I think that like
Yes.
in America, we have this like idea that there's this balance, and we say that all the time, right? That we want to be 50-50 with a partnership. That's not like a thing because spirit doesn't divide itself with
Mhm.
mathematical equations.
It's so wrong to expect someone else's spirit to give what your spirit gives.
Is supposed to give.
I learned that through this relationship too. Like I couldn't expect him
Yeah.
to sit there and be attentive to my feelings and emotions like I was.
Yeah.
He wasn't there.
He was dealing with the other stuff.
Yeah. So like, and but I shouldn't.
But that's a lot of relationships. Like for me,
Yeah.
my relationship is with someone who's been incarcerated more years of their life than they've been free. And when they were incarcerated, they were a child. So they grew up in there. And so am I supposed to expect them to have the same care and attention towards my needs at all times while dealing with living in a world that they are not from?
Right.
And nobody else that's not been in prison
Will understand.
can understand, including me, who deeply understands a lot of all of our brothers' needs like that because of the intimacy we share with one another. And they
Right.
tell me all the things they won't tell, even their girlfriends and wives, right?
Right.
And so it's like, I know their fears, like their biggest fears, right, of being free. And that's so much more scarier to them than being in prison. And if we think about that, like we have no human experience out here where we can go, okay, that would be like them. Like just moving to a country
Mhm.
where they don't speak the language would still not be like coming
Right.
from prison, because even if they don't speak the language, chances are culturally they've all adapted to a certain set of norms. We all have the internet, right? Like we're all
The closest thing you could probably do is like someone from a tribe in the middle of a forest, or even someone
That's-
from Cuba, maybe, because they don't have internet in Cuba. But still,
but it's still a civilized, choice-free society.
Right. And then there's like still villages. Yeah, like you said, there's
Like that's
no
the thing.
one.
Like we would have to this is how I equate it. You'd have to go live in a dog kennel in a backyard
Yeah.
of your family's property.
The only one who knows is probably a dog in the pound.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like literally, and then to come out here and then you expect them because they did live here once to be like, okay.
Like you remember, you should know these things.
It's most of these men were like children not taking care of themselves.
But I mean, how long does it take to form a habit?
Well, so that's the thing. There is scientific research about that. And like they'd almost need to be out as long as they've been in and then some.
To uncondition them.
So like they have to be 80 before they figure it out? That seems like an unfair
That's
gap
crazy.
that we could probably shorten.
At defactobooks.com, creating spaces for our team members who happen to be incarcerated is what we do. Interested in learning more, including how to write to one of our authors? Then check us out today at defactobooks.com or on IG at defacto_books.
But so I think that like the idea we're talking about of being in the same place at all times with somebody, it's always a choice to be able to meet your spirit where that person's spirit is and give more freely than you want to take. Because like, God, the expectations of relationships are the death of them, right? I mean,
Yes.
It's always your own expectations. And I would venture to say most of us don't actually even voice our expectations to our partners in a way that where they know what what to do in order to achieve them.
Mm-hmm.
So
No,
that's a ritual space right there.
And when you do, because I finally had to, when you do go ahead and tell people like, okay, this is what I need, like I've given you, and I've been okay with giving, but now it's time for me to start receiving back. If they can't do it and can't understand why they should be able to do it, then that's when you know, like, okay, I got to set my boundaries and we got to move on. I can't teach you. I can't.
Well, and then, okay, so then this is where that it leads to this part. I wrote that part on here too.
That's funny. I wrote that somewhere too. What page?
I write it everywhere. It's crazy. If it's like profound, and I have like this exclamation point thing I'm doing now with my annotations.
What page are you on?
Page 101. So this is kind of what you're saying in essence. Like, people in the West must always remember that the energy that vibrates sends a message that only certain people will respond to.
I literally put wow.
Wow, yeah.
Okay.
They must make their intention clear while looking for someone, and they must keep their clarity once an intimate relationship is established. This is my hardest thing in life right here. They must constantly check themselves to make sure they are staying in alignment with their true selves, because it is not easy to do. And it's why I often feel like, for me, as a person who sees themselves as single, even though I am in a very intimate, almost monogamous relationship, essentially, like, this is a thing that we don't talk about, like, to people, but
right,
like, but I live a single life, but like, because that cohabitation factor, that colonial marriage thing that that's our standard, causes so much conflict for my spirit.
Yeah.
I like the idea of missing someone. It's not that I don't want to be booed up or whatever, cuddled up at night or have that person. I just don't think it's a requirement, because I think that when you have two highly sentient beings who are very emotionally sensitive in the same space
all the time,
you really only are totally 100% focused on spirit when you're alone. I feel like
100%.
I do, and if I'm wrong, if you can do that in community, which I think is what this book is saying, we are so far from that.
Yeah.
Where we are now.
Most
like,
definitely.
I think it's going to take another lifetime to achieve. But I think that like, how, so what I wrote for book club is, let's talk about the difficulty about this. How do we do that? How do we stay in alignment with our true selves while being so intimately spiritually connected with another being? Rituals. I want to know rituals, but I want to hear from the group. What is that ritual? Sure.
Because
let's share that game.
Like what you said is, you, like, y'all step back, you'll break up every once in a while. And I feel
I wish that we could learn how to do it without the conflict and the turmoil.
Right.
We're going to get there through ritual, because we've been talking about it.
But I think there's a sense in, like, within that time break, in between,
great things happen.
At that point, that's when you have to come back and align. I think you need to always have like a day out of the week to step and come back and align with yourself, to be like, and I think there's something huge with it, what you were saying with, you know, not having to sleep in the same bed and being cuddled every night with the person you're intimate with. Because in this book,
that's a physical codependency.
Yeah,
they don't sleep together.
They don't sleep together. They sleep in separate quarters, which at first the concept, I was like,
bro, but think about it, bro. Don't you, even when you're
sometimes
in love
you want your space
and you're booed up, don't you ever sleep alone and wake up in your space? And that morning ritual is like sacred.
Yes.
Because what I do when I'm with my partner is I wake up and I start to attend to their needs.
Yes.
Because that's my love language, and I can't stop myself from wanting to do that. And or they start their day that's not in unison with yours, and that's already like a conflict to where you're not in unison, and you're also not in your own separate spiritual spaces.
Right.
So I guess there could be a morning ritual. And I know a lot of probably people who live together have those, and that helps solidify that time.
Yeah. But even like a nighttime ritual to do with yourself, to get back aligned with yourself.
Bitch, I think you need to sleep alone sometimes. Like, I think you
do.
I think people that are
it feels
always
good sometimes.
But I know I have a ton of super codependent friends who are like
I gotta have
they make every decision they do with their partner to ad nauseum. For me, it's just like, bro, you have to check with them about what you're doing next week. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Unless,
I mean, like, and that whole, I can't sleep when he's on a business trip. And it's like,
girl, bye. You better get you some
what?
fucking NyQuil.
I sleep
and
with
enjoy
stuffed
that
animals.
bed.
I'm a grown-ass woman who sleeps with stuffed animals, and that's probably why.
I have pillows.
I have a ritual in my bed.
I just, it feels
I want the whole bed.
Me too. And
But I
wanna
also want
smoke
the
in my bed,
cuddles.
and I want to watch my shows. I need to watch my stories. Now, mind you,
I don't have that problem because mine was in prison so long they don't know any shows, so every show is new to them.
Got you.
So
See?
you can control the whole TV.
Well, there's some shows that I watch that other people aren't, because you know me, I'm real deep, so I'd be watching like dramas and shit. Like
and when
that.
you're not watching
And
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Drag Race.
I'm real deep, bitch. I watch all the drag shows
And we are
bitch,
here.
me too. I'm real deep. I watch documentaries and love and hip hop.
And Bad Girls Club.
And Bad Girl and Babs. Okay, because they just put it back on Netflix. Bitch, so don't fuck with me.
This episode is sponsored by Baba Holistics.
Ooh, Baba Holistics have my favorite gummies with that good stuff.
Yep, that's Baba. They offer the highest quality, most unique CBD and CBG on the market today.
Cannabinoids are the breakout medicinal supplement for health and wellness. Baba Holistics offers high-quality products designed to promote individual balance, stability, peace, and wellness for your mind and body.
Baba Holistics is Black-owned and has everything you need for your wellness life, including oils, topicals, edibles, and pet products.
And you can shop the website by need, girl. Like, they have stress relief section, sleep health, muscle recovery, and get this, an intimacy section
What?
with some shit I'm about to order. It's a CBD peach flavored lube for the freaky places, so you can get your peach high.
Oh, okay, Princess Peach.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about these gummies too?
Yeah, the ones that we ate right before we recorded this.
Those
Amazing. They carry the Delta 8 and 9 blends at Baba. They're pressure, y'all. You don't want to miss out. Trust.
So where can the fine people find all this goodness?
Y'all can go to babaholistics.com or follow them on IG at baba_holistics.
That's at BABA_holistics.
I feel like we got to bring this up because this is huge. People involved in solely sexual relationships carry within themselves a huge energetic hole from early childhood wounds that completely cuts them off from their true selves. Their hope is that this person with whom they're involved might give them the connection they crave. More than often not, the person they're reaching out does not have the connection to self either. And so you have two people who are disconnected at the bottom, at both the spiritual and personal level. The relationship doesn't have any kind of grounding force or foundation to hold it. So, like, how do
you get a bottom bitch? No.
So my question is, how do you identify that hole in you so that you are able?
Okay, well, so it's funny that you highlighted that because I highlighted the paragraph right before it. So I think that's your answer. Once an intimate relationship is taken out of its spiritual context, it faces many dangers. A deep disconnection is created not only on the spiritual plane, but also at the personal level. So, and it relates to what she said earlier about ego. So, like, we do things because we just want to feel good, right? And that's like the notion of like, even what you were saying about your friend saying, I don't want to have emotions, or I want to have this without feelings. Well, first of all, we don't exist without feelings or emotions. You cannot really cut them off.
Right.
You can try to disconnect from them and form a sociopathic tendency emotionally to yourself, which is very, very damaging. Because I've done that. Like, I used to pride myself on how fast I
emotions cut somebody
off quick. I cut you off quick because
and cut them in.
Yeah, and I don't know your name, and you text me, you don't know where I live, my email address has changed. I'm like a whole nother bitch, and like you'll never find me. There's men in this city, they'll listen to our podcast. I'll be like, I'm one of them motherfuckers she's talking about. Yes, because I thought that meant I was protecting myself, but really I was blocking spirit, right? And what my purpose was for them by cutting them off by being a runaway, right? So I think when you say this part about being solely in a sexual relationship and having that hole.
So you got to focus.
Amen. You can't just have solely sexual relationships. I mean, that's painful for people to hear. And I promise you that's not going to be easy for a Westerner to get a grip on. Because we literally make money off of solely sexual enterprise.
Right.
Bitch, our event coming up, we are solely sexualizing the fuck out of those flyers so that y'all will come see us, okay? Because we know how capitalism works. But you cannot tell me, and I don't, and even the playerist player of men, right? Because of course we tend to be attracted to sometimes the worst traits, right? Even those men, though, intimately, reflectively will tell you that an intimate sexual relationship with someone that they love is what they desire.
Yeah.
And because that's we intrinsically as humans, we all desire that.
That's what we all want.
It's better.
Yeah.
It's a better vibe when you actually have a love for the person. And and there's degrees to how much you love people, right? As far as like wanting to and have them vibe and be interloped into your whole world. Because like I don't think that sexual energy is solely has to be reserved for one partner if you have other lifestyle choices, right?
Right.
But I think to identify the whole, girl, do you really?
You answered it perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know when you're fucking a black hole person. Sometimes we do it intentionally because we know we don't have to connect. Yeah. Some people will call that, oh, that's why I fuck married women, right? Because they're married,
I think that's just something guys really need to hear, because I know guys that just like are always basing their, like, that's all their relationships are based on is sexuality. They say they want something deeper, but it's because they don't know how to obtain it. So that's why they keep doing the thing, because society teaches them how to be the player type, the like, I just smash mad bitches. And, you know, what is that? There's a freaking Jadakiss song. It's old as fuck. Catch and Release. You remember that song? Mm-hmm. It's, what does he say? My insecurities get the best of me. So I just fuck what's right in front of me. They don't even, and the thing is, we live in a culture where pussy is easy, dick is easy. It's easy. It's always in front of you. If you go out into a social situation where drinking is involved, you can get that entertainment. Mm-hmm. But that's why I say that's a black hole space for me. I don't fuck in those spaces anymore because they don't serve feed my soul. Anything. Yes. Right? And we've all done it. Yes. Everyone swiped on somebody that they never would bring home to mama. Yeah. Period. 100%. Well, you know, you having those last few shots before you fixing to hook up at that link up at the bar, and you watch them walk to the bathroom and they look like a damn antelope, and you're like, still gonna go. My aura is just why did I do this? The next morning you're like, God damn.
One of the things Sobonfu Some's book, The Spirit of Intimacy, taught us was how incorporating ritual into our community on a conscious level, we can strengthen our understanding of our spiritual purpose.
Yes.
Well, when we come together with another person, we create a foundation that allows us to fulfill that purpose, Jasmen. And basically, if your partner is chosen well, they will have been born to a purpose along the same path. I like the idea of having community have input in your partners. I don't think that's an antiquated idea, and it doesn't sound like mail order bride, like people are going to think this is. Yeah. It sounds like if you are in a caring community that has your spirit's purpose in their interest, and that's the goal, that they're not going to send you somebody that's in an antithesis of that. Right. You're going to get the right person, and you're going to trust that, right? Right. Because also you're not just looking at them to see if they're fine and if they got a Benz and a big dick.
That part.
Like, because that's literally the top criteria for, like, we're the most basic, simple,
stupid shit that doesn't even matter. Not what is his moral values and what is his spirit calling. Yeah, we don't ask any of that.
And if he can provide for you in more ways than just money, because like that's really okay. For sure. Yeah. So I like the idea about on 105 where she says the ritual can be performed by two people without the presence of the community. It's an important ritual in the sense it allows couples to clear the air before jumping into sexual intimacy. If you carry anger or sadness into intimacy, you will transfer that energy to your partner. And that's like that. We have a culture for makeup, breakup, sex. And that's kind of devastating.
Kind of like toxic.
Yeah, because like if we're mad and we fuck, then what have you done to your spirit? Like if you haven't, like I think we think it's good too. Right. We think like that's hot, right? Right. Rawr.
It's like, hold on, wait, let's identify what's really going on there.
Yeah, but you know, I think the more spiritually connected I've become, though, as a young person, I could definitely do all of that.
Right. And now this more spiritually connected.
I
you're
really
like,
can't. When I'm upset, deeply wounded, and hurt, I'm not fucking you. Like,
Yeah.
I really am.
You're
I'm
not
not going to
there.
stab you per se, which I probably would have done before too, but I'm definitely not like wanting to share that part of myself.
From De Facto Books, this is Two Peas in a Pod. If you like what you heard and want to support the community, visit defactobooks.com and click support.
You can also link up with one of our de facto kings and even sponsor a book club in prison.
Like what you heard? Then subscribe to Two Peas in a Pod on your favorite platform. Want to join a book club but haven't made the jump? Then check out the De Facto Book Club at The Wild Detectives. Head to IG and type in @defacto_books and follow for schedules and the book selection of the season. If you're interested in learning more about the topic of today's episode, we recommend The Spirit of Intimacy by Sobonfu Some.
Two Peas in a Pod is hosted by J. Nicole and B. Diggity Dog.
Audio editing and sound design by Derek B.
Music by Imperial Soul.
Thanks for listening, y'all.